It's not giving. It needs to end. I cannot read this for another moment. This was definitely a wasted blind date.
It's time for the 13 Nights of Saraween.
Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. I do apologize for my appearance right now. I did just work out, but I got a very exciting package in the mail and I just really want to start this vlog, so we're going to start it as is. This is going to be a part 2 to the blind dates with a book vlog that I did, I think, in August. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It actually still is August right now, but I'm posting this in October, so we're gonna pretend that months have gone by. I decided to make this round a little bit different by doing a theme, and so I requested all like thriller and horror and like spooky books because we're going for like the Halloween vibes. What inspired me to do a part 2 was the fact that after I got one of the romance books in the first vlog, which, by the way, spoiler alert, I did not like 2 of the 3 books that I got. I got 1 from a bookstore and 2 from Etsy. The 2 from Etsy actually went really poorly. I complained to one of the Etsy shops that I didn't love the book she sent because, let me explain, I'm not a Karen. Her like descriptions on the genres said spicy / dark romance, which made me think I was getting a spicy dark romance. So I gave the shop like a 3-star review just saying that I felt like the category was named weird, and the shop owner was so apologetic. She felt so bad, so she reached out and asked if she could send me another book, and so it has come already. It's literally been like, I don't even know, like 5 days since I left a review, and she sent it already. And so that also got me to thinking, what if I switched genre? So I was like, hey, just forget about the dark romance, forget about the romance in general, send me a thriller. I just want to read a thriller. And so then I was like, let me order more spooky books. And so those are coming, I believe, at the end of August, early September. And so again, we're gonna keep pretending like I'm reading these in October, but I am pre-filming right now. I thought I would mix it up by opening these books as I get them. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see what's inside this. I really want to see. On the outside, she wrote hints: hospital, coma, accident. I'm a little nervous after my last vlog experience. It didn't go that well last time. Okay. Sometimes I lie. Oh, it's by Alice Feeney. Okay, I've never read Alice Feeney before, and I have been interested in reading her before. I know she wrote that like rock, paper, scissors book or something that I think people had like pretty mixed views on. Let's read the back. It says, Amber Reynolds wakes up in a hospital. She can't move, she can't speak, she can't open her eyes. She can hear everyone around her, but they have no idea. Amber doesn't remember what happened to her, but she has a sneaking suspicion her husband had something to do with it, or her sister, or maybe both. Terrified and trapped inside her own body, she slowly begins to remember a night that changed her life. Is she in a coma due to an accident? Is her sister having an affair with her husband? What happened at work with her horrible boss? And who is the person who is silently visiting her bedside each night? This sounds really good. Like, this is a psychological thriller I could get behind. I'm so excited, and this is such a nice copy. I'm so happy that that Etsy shop was just like so kind and sent that. I don't know, I'm just really excited. Let's just get into reading it. Okay, besties, it has been a while since I last updated you on this vlog. I actually took a break to film a different vlog, and now I'm back, and it's actually October now, so I'm not really pre-filming as far in advance anymore. But I have finished Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, and I gotta be honest, guys, I went into this with high expectations. I really like the cover. I've always kind of wanted to try reading Alice Feeney. Something we need to know about Miss Alice is that she's addicted to a plot twist. She loves a little twist. Twisty, twisty, turvy, like you're gonna feel like you're in a tornado. I typically am someone that really enjoys when there's a lot of plot twists, even if they're outlandish. Like, I feel like if you lined up all of the thrillers that I have absolutely loved, a lot of them have very ridiculous, outlandish premises that other people think are stupid, and normally I'm okay with that, but this one, no. So this book starts out with our main character, Amber, and she's laying in a coma in the hospital. She realizes very quickly that she can hear everyone, but she can't open her eyes or speak, so she's sort of trapped in her body. And so the book kind of splits between her being in the coma and listening to people in the hospital, but also all of the events leading up to this point. And then there's also a like third narrative, which is a bunch of diary entries from when she was a child. Amber's character is just not very pleasant to read from. She's not unlikable in like a fun way. She's unlikable in like a, why are you making those choices? Like, you kind of seem like just kind of like a pitiful character. A lot of what she says doesn't make sense. Obviously it all comes together at the end of the book, but it's really messy along the way. I would say I enjoyed like the first half of this book. Like, I was like intrigued. Like, I was like, where is this going? What's going on? I was like trying to figure out what the twists were gonna be. But when this book starts getting to all of the twists, which I would say is probably about like 3/4 into it, it just takes off in a very insane way that doesn't feel put together. It just kind of feels like, oh, you thought that was gonna happen? Just kidding. Fuck you. It's actually this thing. Oh, you thought this thing was true? Never mind. It's actually this other thing. And it was just like turning itself on its head too much. Like it was hard to follow at points. Like I was like, wait, what? But then it just started feeling cheap. Like it didn't feel fun or exciting at that point. And like I said, I do enjoy books that like have a lot of topsy-turvy twists. Like that's not something that I normally shy away from, but I think these ones were just really messy and poorly done. It kind of felt like Alice Feeney couldn't make up her mind on how she wanted this book to end. And like I said, I really did not enjoy Amber as a main character, so there wasn't like a lot of redeeming qualities to this. To be honest, I didn't really like any of the characters in this book. Amber was the only one that was sort of fleshed out, but even then, like I said, I feel like her characterization was really messy. When I first got into this, I thought I was going to rate it around 3 stars, but then the further I got into it, the more I was like, okay, maybe it's a 2 star. And then by the time I got to the end and it was just so stupid, I was like, this is 1 star. I don't blame the Etsy shop for this blind date experience. I think what I'm learning, and I said this in my other video as well, is that if I'm going to do blind date with a book, I need to do one where they have the prompts written on the front where they're like telling me what I'm getting myself into. The issue with doing blind dates with books on Etsy is that they don't do it that way. They kind of just have you pick a genre and then you can sort of say what you're into and what you're not into. Like I said earlier, this shop only has you picking on genre, and I think you submit your Goodreads so that they don't send you a book that you've already read. I really liked the shop owner. I think she was really sweet. I think the way she packages her books are good, and she remediated, is remediate a word? Remediate? She remedied the issue I had initially with the other book that I was sent. So I really don't blame the Etsy shop owner for this. I think I'm just learning a lot about myself when it comes to blind dates with a book. And I say that as if I hadn't already said this in the other video, but here we are doing a part 2. Let's just move on to the next book. Both packages for the next 2 books have actually already come, but I'm going to still open them one at a time to keep the suspense and surprise happening in this video. So I'm going to put this one away to open later, and we're actually going to open this one next. I believe this is the book that I ordered that was a horror genre. The wrapping would lead me to believe that. It's really cute. I love all the stickers and all the different like Edgar Allan Poe like motif that she put on it. It does make me wonder if this is going to be an Edgar Allan Poe book. I don't know if he's considered horror. Okay, this is more difficult than it needs to be. This twine has hands. Stranger Still by Michael Brent Collings. Let me see what it says on the back. It says, your sins are legion, and now you belong to him. Legion is a teacher, an avenging angel, a murderer, a madman. He finds those who have fallen short and teaches them the lessons they need to leave their mistakes behind. And if he has to teach a lesson that ends in death, well, sometimes that's the cost of proper education. That's why when he sees a man kidnap 2 people on the side of the road, Legion knows it is time to teach again. Legion is captured, beaten, bleeding, in chains, cut off, and alone. It's just the way he likes it. Legion has students, and the lessons are about to begin. I literally still have no idea what this is about. I guess it's about like an avenging angel type guy that's a murderer? I don't know. Is this the horror one or the thriller one? I honestly don't know. I guess we'll just go ahead and read this and then I'll report back on what genre it is. Okay, listen, I have to DNF this. I have to DNF it. It's not good. I think I read like 100 pages of this and it's not giving. It needs to end. I cannot read this for another moment. This was definitely a wasted blind date. So in this book, we have a guy that calls himself Legion. He's very hard to explain because at the very start, he names himself Legion with the help of his 2 other personalities. I don't really know what else to call them. It kind of gives me the impression like he's meant to have dissociative identity disorder because the 2 other versions of him are people that only he can see and he talks to them but no one else can see them, and one of them is a drowned version of him and the other one is a burned version of him. It makes me feel like I'm missing something because I have heard there's more books like in this series, but it was confusing and I don't really get it. But anyway, he kind of walks around and he just judges people on their morality, and if he thinks they've sinned big enough then he decides to kill them. So the start of the book, he's in a gas station and he's talking to the gas station attendant. He doesn't like her facial piercings, but he decides that's not a big enough sin for for him to punish her. That's a genuine thought that he has to himself. And then the couple behind him clearly have a drug problem. They're sort of like shaking, they look like they're in withdrawal, and they just kind of have a weird vibe around them. And so he goes outside to put gas in his car, and while he's doing it, the couple holds up the gas station with guns and they're trying to rob it. So he sees this as obviously a huge offense and a huge sin, so he goes in and he kills them in a really gory way. And so then we have another perspective of this guy who's a hired killer, who's clearly a sociopath. And so he has been hired to kidnap this couple that just got married and they're on their honeymoon. They're driving across the country on their honeymoon, so he kidnaps them. And so then the point that I got in the book was Legion was following them, like he saw them get kidnapped and then he was thinking about doling out punishment. And so the other character, the kidnapper, who's a sociopath, has weird vibes as well, obviously because he's meant to be a sociopath. Like, he is a hired killer, he's really rich, and he thinks he's really good at everything he does. He seems very like narcissistic. And so I feel like I'm making it sound more interesting than it was, but I'm gonna be upfront, like reading it, like the writing style is so bad and I just simply cannot put myself through all of this just for a video. Like, I promise you, besties, you don't want to read this. Like, it's not good. You know what, besties? I just don't know if blind date with a book is worth it. I don't even really know why I really wanted to do a part 2 of this. I mean, obviously, because I was sent a free book and I just thought it would be fun to do a part 2. But it's like cementing my opinion that maybe it's just better to know what you're buying. It's just better. Especially when you're a reader like me, where spending, like, this was like probably like $17 because of the whole packaging and the surprise, just to get like a used self-published book. Like, I don't know. All right, let's move on to the last book. My camera is about to die, so let's unwrap this really quickly. Hopefully this will be the savior of the entire video. Why do they always tie these things? I mean, they're very cute, but it's so hard to untie. Also, I really like this butterfly on the front. The House of Brides by Jane Cockrum. I've literally never heard of this. Let's read the back. Still reeling from the humiliating aftermath of a very public fall from grace as a lifestyle influencer, Miranda Courtenay becomes genuinely alarmed when a distressing letter arrives from her 12-year-old cousin asking for help. For one thing, the return address is Barnsley House, the English family estate immortalized in her mother's best-selling memoir, The House of Brides. Since her mother's death, Miranda's only connection to Barnsley House has been through Tessa's book, a chronicle of the generations of women who married into the infamous Summer family, including Miranda's grandmother, who killed herself after setting fire to Barnsley while her children slept. The house's current bride is Daphne, a celebrated chef whose success has saved Barnsley from ruin. But when Miranda arrives, Daphne's renowned hotel and restaurant are shuttered, and she is nowhere to be found. Instead, she meets the forbidding housekeeper, Mrs. Mintz, her aloof Uncle Max, and his children, one of whom is confined to a wheelchair after a mysterious accident. Not knowing whom to trust, Miranda quickly realizes she must conceal her identity. What happened in this house? Where is Daphne? And is Miranda destined to follow in the doomed path of summer women who came before her? We will have to find out when I read this. I really hope this is way better than this last book, because this one, guys, it's not it. It's really not it. I really did not like this. I apologize if at any point during this update you hear people talking or laughing or shouting in the background. My boyfriend is currently doing a tabletop RPG in our dining room and my office is downstairs, so there's not really a way around it when we cohabitate. I have horrible news for this vlog, besties. I am DNFing this as well. This is so bad. I can't decide which was worse, this or the Stranger Still one. They're both bad. In this book, we have our main character, Miranda, who used to be a health and lifestyle blogger, and then she did something that made her get in trouble, so her name has been really in a lot of bad press, and she can't get a job anywhere. So when we open in this book, she's having dinner with her family, celebrating the fact that she's gotten a new job, because it was hard for her to do that. Essentially, her dad is like this really rich guy, and he basically like paid someone to hire her, and so she's just kind of like, oh, woe is me, my life sucks because I did something that's really bad. Like, they do tell you eventually what she did, and it's kind of like, that's your fault, girly. Like, I don't really feel bad for you. So instead of being grateful that her dad did that for her, she decides to take off to the UK because her mother died when she was really young, and her mother grew up in this manor that's like now turned into a hotel. It's this whole thing. It's like an estate that her mother grew up on, and her mother actually wrote a book about it called House of Brides. I think it said that in the synopsis when I read it to you guys. And so she's always wanted to go, and so she receives this like mysterious letter from her cousin that's like a teenager that says like, hey, please come and like help me out. So she decides that she's just gonna take off in the middle of the night, and she's kind of an asshole because she actually uses her dad's credit card to be able to go to the UK because she's got no money, and she basically says fuck you to the job that he got for her. So we're not starting out great as far as like liking this character, and she's not unlikable in like a fun way. She's unlikable in like a you're a dumb bitch way. Like when she gets to the estate in the UK, she has literally no game plan about what she's gonna do or what she's gonna say, because these are like estranged family members that she's going to see. So when she shows up, they're like, oh, are you the new nanny? And she's like, yes, that is exactly who I am. And she just starts lying from day one, which could be a cool plot if it was done well, but the writing in this book is so bad. Like, it's shockingly bad. This is traditionally published, and apparently the author actually works in publishing as well. So you would think that this would be like moderately good. It's really not. It's really not. Like, the writing style is so confusing. It's in first person, and Miranda like constantly says the word hashtag out loud. Like, I get that she was supposed to be like an influencer or whatever before, but it's like really lame. And there's all these times that while Miranda's like telling you what's going on, she's like, I would soon come to find out that XYZ was going to happen, but right now I didn't know that. And then we like never revisit the thing that she's like foreshadowing, like when she's talking. And then there's these other times where she'll be meeting new characters, and in her narrative she'll be like, well, that's how Max always was. He was always like withholding secrets or whatever. And I'm like, girl, how do you know that about him? You literally met him 5 minutes ago. I feel like this book couldn't decide if she was telling the story and learning as we were learning, or if she like knew ahead of us. A lot of it didn't make any sense, and it took so fucking long to get to the mystery. Like, I probably read like, I want to say like I read like half of this. Like, I really feel like I got this far in here and literally nothing happened. Like, she went to the UK and pretended to be the nanny, and then literally there's chapters upon chapters of her literally just being a nanny and like making sandwiches for the kids. I was really confused about what the mystery was supposed to be until the mother of the children that she's like nannying like goes missing, and then everybody's like, oh, where'd Daphne go? I don't know. And then it went back to just being like, oh, and now I'm a nanny for the kids. And I could not go on another page. It's so bad. It's like literally so bad. Like, I really do not recommend this. I actually went on Goodreads to see if I was crazy for thinking this was bad, but a lot of people agree with me. This doesn't really have that many reviews on Goodreads in general, and the people who have reviewed it mostly say that it's bad. So a lot of us are just very confused about how this got published. Like, it's simply not good. So that brings us to the end of this part 2 of going on blind dates with books, and I have a bad verdict. I don't think that these are worth it unless you can read prompts about what the book is about. I said that in the last video, and I've said it again in this video. I just feel like I do better if I can actually read what the beats are that are going to get me interested in the book, and then I can decide if it sounds like something that I'm going to be interested in. Like, I did get a 5-star read out of a blind date experience, but again, because I got it at a local bookstore, it was more personalized. And I think getting these blind dates on Etsy is a little bit different, because these Etsy sellers tend to do it by genre, where they're just like, oh, you want a thriller? Here's a random thriller. And there's not really a way to decide like what kind of book you want to read. I actually did try to search on Etsy to see if anyone sold something similar to what I had got at that bookstore in New York, but I couldn't find it. I've actually been thinking about maybe doing it myself on my own Etsy shop. For those of you who don't know, I actually have started an Etsy shop where I'm selling stickers and bookmarks, and so I've been kind of thinking about other bookish things I could do, and I feel like I could really do a good blind date with a book. I would probably only sell books that I've read and rated highly, because I want to feel like I'm giving people an experience that I could recommend myself. There's no shade or hate or anything to these Etsy shops that don't read the books that they're sending out. I think a lot of them buy them in bulk in a way that's affordable for them, and maybe this is like their small business that like is really cute, and I love that for them. And always the packaging is really great, as you could see from these videos. So let me know down below if you'd be interested in me doing that. I will say that if you're a longtime subscriber of mine and you know what my favorite books are, when you go to buy the books, they'll probably end up being the books that are my favorites. So when you open them, you might not be that surprised about what they are. But I don't know, I'm thinking of a way to do that. I think I'd have to start going thrifting and like have a list of books that I'd be looking for, and maybe it'd be just a little bit more curated than the Etsy experience that you can find currently. I don't know, I'm thinking the wheels are turning. But to sum it all up, the moral of the story is that I cannot say with my full chest that I recommend blind dates with books unless you really trust the seller, or if you're getting that list of characteristics about the book to kind of sell you on the experience that you're about to have. I just feel like the sort of random pick a genre on Etsy vibe is just not working for me personally. But yeah, that pretty much brings me to the end of this vlog. I feel like it was kind of a fail, really badly. At least last video I had a 5-star review, but this video I had a 1-star review and then 2 DNFs. So do what you want with that. It was kind of an expensive mistake to make, because I think those 3 books all together was like $45. But yeah, we're learning, we're growing. To be honest, one of the books actually was free because I guess she sent it to me to make up for the last video, but you know what I'm saying. If you've been enjoying this video, comment the stack of books emoji down below so that I know if you made it to the end, and let me know what other kind of content you want to see from me in the future if you like these types of vlogs. I don't know if I want to subject myself to another blind dates with a book concept, but if you can think of anything similar, let me know. But thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.